This is our health and fitness segment, and most of you listening right now, I would say, probably have a cup of coffee in your hand. Patty and I showing it to the camera if you're watching us online at eatdrinkexplore.com. Have one from Pete's downstairs. Well, analyst Janet Hildebrand with the American Cancer Society in Atlanta joins us to talk about a new study that came out this week. The topic, coffee consumption may reduce mortality rates from oral cancers. And for those of us that drink coffee, that sounds like a good study.
Yeah, but I like that.
But the question a lot of times is,
how much coffee are we talking?
How much, and does that mean if you don't drink coffee, you should start? You know, these studies always, they get most people just catch the headline.
And they don't, get all the context that comes with it.
I won't get cancer if I drink coffee, you know, is what they boil it down to. And I think Janet will be the first to say that that is not the case. Welcome to the program, Janet.
Thank you very much, Randall. Nice to be here.
Yes, no, fantastic to have you. And I should tell everyone, Janet told me on the phone this week, she's done a lot of interviews, but she's never done a live radio interview. And so I said, don't worry, Janet, we'll be super nice to you on the phone.
Okay.
How's everything in Atlanta this morning?
Well, it's chilly this morning, but it's clear and sunny, so it's a beautiful day here.
Good. Do you have a cup of coffee in hand?
Well, not at the moment. I had my second cup about an hour ago. So.
That's right. You are 3 hours behind us. So, so what's the nuts and bolts of this study? How many people were looked at, and what was found?
Well, we examined the coffee drinking habits of nearly 1 million men and women in relation, as you said, to death from oral or pharynx cancer. That's mouth and throat cancer. And we found a fairly strong protective association with particularly caffeinated coffee. And to give you an example, compared with people who reported that they never drank coffee or drank it only occasionally, but not every day, people who reported drinking just 1 cup a day had a reduced risk of death from these cancers of about 25%. And then that risk continued to go down with each additional cup that was reported, and the lowest risk that we observed was about a 50% risk among people who drank 4, 5, 6 cups per day.
Wow.
And so is there any idea yet, so that's the kind of connection between the coffee and the mortality rate, but is there any thought yet as to the why, what the connection actually is, what's the cause?
Well, we don't clearly know the mechanism yet, but we do know that coffee does contain many hundreds of biologically active compounds, and it contains antioxidants, for example, and it also contains some compounds, to name a couple for your listeners if they want to Google, cafestol and caweol, caffeic acid, chlorogenic acid. These are all compounds that have been identified and studied and found to have some anti-cancer properties. But clearly, a lot of research still needs to be done.
Janet, that chlorogenic acid, isn't that the one that they keep touting in the green coffee bean extract?
As a weight loss.
Aid,
right?
Right.
Oh, well, I don't know about weight loss, so I can't speak to that issue.
So what the study shows is a reduced mortality rate, meaning fewer people died from oral cancers if they were coffee drinkers. But there's no evidence from this study anyway as to whether it will keep you from getting oral cancers.
Well, let me say that we started out with a population of cancer-free adults. So these are people who, during follow-up, got the disease and died from it. But you're right in that we cannot tell from our study how much of this reduced mortality was actually due to lower risk of getting the disease and how much of it actually might be attributable to better survival after diagnosis. So that is the limitation of the study. And hopefully in the future there will be maybe some studies in survivors to answer that question.
So, Janet, that was what I was going to ask you next, is a lot of times these studies really just open the door to more examination. So do you have plans to move forward with this, to go beyond this and look a little more closely at some of these factors?
Well, we do hope to continue this work. We're currently enrolling our newest cohort, Cancer Prevention Study 3, and that is going on right now. We hope to have, by the end of 2013, 300,000 men and women for research on this topic and much, much more. This is going to provide a significant resource for cancer research for decades to come. So for your listeners who are interested in our work and interested in Cancer Prevention Study 3, please go to www.cancer.org/CPS3 and just find out more about the study, including how you can enroll, where you can enroll in your community. There are going to be enrollment events all across the country this next year. And please consider being a part of this landmark study.
Yes, Janet, I did already embed a link in our program summaries at eatdrinkexplore.com. Just go to today's program summary, and you will find the link to the enrollment page because I think it is important. The more people that enroll, the better information we get, of course. Now, I would think that the coffee companies probably jump on a study, this previous study, in a heartbeat. So it makes people, a lot of times when studies come out like this, like we had that Sapporo beer one on how, beer.
It's good for you, and it's paid for by,
and it's paid for by Sapporo. So who finances these studies?
Well, the American Cancer Society maintains and funds the Cancer Prevention Study 2 cohort that this study came from.
I see, good.
And so this is our cohort that we follow, and it's entirely funded by us, the American Cancer Society, and our contributors, of course. But let me just say that we are not recommending that people start drinking coffee or up their intake of coffee for cancer prevention. We would just need a whole lot more scientific laboratory and clinical evidence for a protective benefit against cancer across multiple sites for such a recommendation. But this, keep in mind, this is just one of many cancer sites. And this is just a little bit of good news for those of us who enjoy coffee.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yes.
It's way too early in the game, though, and I agree. Analyst Janet Hildebrand with the American Cancer Society joining us this morning in Atlanta. Janet, you did a great job.
Well, thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
We
Thanks,
appreciate
Janet.
it. Yes, cancer.org. It's a great website. I've volunteered for the American Cancer Society. I used to for years back in Madison, Wisconsin. Enjoyed that a lot. Like I said, the link at eatdrinkexplore.com under our program summaries.